So you're curious about 12-step meetings. I'm just gonna give you a like what to expect video so that you can walk into your first meeting or never walk into any meeting but still know what's up, having a bit of information. Okay, so whatever it is that made you download this video or think about going to a 12-step meeting, and by 12-step meetings I mean AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, NA, Narcotics Anonymous. There's a 12-step meeting for everything. Overeaters Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Crystal Meth Anonymous, Codependency Anonymous, which is CODA, SLAW, which is Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, GA, Gamblers Anonymous. You name it, they probably got a 12-step meeting for it. It's pretty cool. So whatever it is that popped that idea into your head, what you're gonna want to do first is figure out which 12-step meeting might be most suitable for you. So something to think about is that, you know, maybe your presenting problem or your main concern is alcohol. You would Google Alcoholics Anonymous. If you are using drugs, you might want to Google Narcotics Anonymous. But just FYI that whether or not you consider alcohol to be a problem for you, Narcotics Anonymous considers alcohol to be a drug. So you're going to hear that in the literature. They're going to say, alcohol is a drug, period. So if you do go to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, but you have no intention of stopping drinking, try not to discuss that you are drinking, just out of respect for other people who do consider alcohol to be a problem. Also, if you're going to Narcotics Anonymous, do not be drug specific. One, it's rude. You know, I know that I don't want to go to an NA meeting and hear my drug of choice be repeated over and over and over and over. Also, drugs of choice sort of end up being almost like a class system. Three, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit what you are using, okay? All anybody cares about is what you want to do about it and how the people in that room can help, okay? Don't be drug specific. Basically, nobody cares. I promise. Nobody cares what you were using. It also sort of, I mentioned that it ends up becoming like a class system, but it's also, there's like this weird hierarchy that like nobody talks about, but we all agree on. So if you want to, you know, let people know that you have money and that like you have a great job and that you're, you know, doing just fine in life, except for you have this like substance issue, you might want to mention certain drugs that sort of put you in the higher rungs of this substance ladder that nobody talks about but we all agree on. And I'm not going to be drug specific, but I'm pretty sure you know what I mean. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go on Google, you're going to Google whatever 12-step meeting you think is most applicable for you. There's going to be a phone number or a meeting list for your area, okay? It's not complicated, but you're going to have to look at some areas. Or just straight up call the hotline number. It's going to be like a 1-800 number. Call them, be like, I live in this town. Can you give me the website address or tell me like where to go, when the next meeting is. This is what I get for making these videos outside. So you're going to want to ask them, give me the website address for my, you know, the meetings in my area, or tell me when the next meeting is. when you get to that meeting, they'll have a meeting list for you, or they'll be able to give you more information, okay? So you're gonna see meeting lists are by date and time, or by town. So there's gonna be a bunch of towns in your area. If you're in a big city, it might just be for your city. So you're gonna see a bunch of meetings. Some of them, they're all gonna have like cute little 12-step branded group names. You know, I know there's one in Kitchener that's called like the Brown Baggers, which I think is just the funniest thing. I know there's a Narcotics Anonymous meeting called Clean Freaks, which is so cute. But it's, you know, new beginnings, things like that. Serenity, something or other. You're going to see that each meeting will either be labeled as open or closed. Open meetings are for anybody. So this is if you want to bring support, or if you are a family member that is, you know, in a relationship or in a kinship with someone that is actively using, and you want to go to these meetings just to see what they're like, go for it. Open meetings are for anybody. Open meetings will sometimes be speaker meetings. So where you sit there and the group has picked a speaker previously, or the speaker signed up to speak, and it's them sharing their story in recovery, and a bit in active substance use. These are great for anybody. Closed meetings are only for people who have a desire to quit using or a desire to quit drinking. Okay, so only for people who have a desire to make a behavior change about their own use. Those are closed meetings, okay? So if you want to go to a meeting that is more intimate, you might want to try a closed meeting. If you want to go to a meeting and sort of blend and not really feel like you have to share, where you can pretend that you don't need the meeting, go to an open meeting. Okay, so a lot of meetings are in sort of random places. A lot of meetings are in churches. Not because 12-step programs are religious in any way, shape, or form. It's because churches charge little to nothing to have meetings there. Excuse me. So because a lot of churches, you know, pay their funds by donations or whatever, they're not going to charge a lot of money. You know I go to one meeting that's like $25 every quarter. Like it's nothing. So this is because 12-step meetings operate by donation only. So the books, the coffee, the meeting spaces, the printouts, all that stuff is literally by donation only. They don't have a lot of money to blow on getting fancy offices or whatever, okay? So they're always looking for churches or other little sort of classroom situations where there's like hardly any rent fees. Okay. That said, bring some change if you want to, a couple of quarters, you know, rub together 2 nickels, whatever, because at the end of the meeting, they pass around a basket for donations. It's called the 7th tradition. I'm not going to go into traditions, but they pass around a basket and everyone kind of tosses in some change. So if you don't want to feel like out of place, just grab a couple of quarters, whatever change you have in like your cup holder or whatever. Okay, the beginning of the meeting. Usually people sit around a table, okay? The people that have been going there are really happy, joyous, and free. They're chit-chatting. They're eyeing you up because you're the new gorgeous face. They're going to tell you you're the most important person in the room. They're going to say, welcome. They're going to stick their freaking hands out and shake your hand and ask your name, okay? It's going to happen. It's unavoidable unless you roll up 1 minute before the meeting starts. 7:59, roll in, or 8:01, slither into the meeting very quietly. Okay, that's the only way to avoid it. 12-step people are very friendly. Okay, it's because they care about you. So every meeting is going to open with a person sort of leading the meeting. It's called the chairperson. They have a bit of clean time, a bit of recovery time. They're going to tell you what makes them qualified to sit in that chair to lead a meeting. Okay. So it's going to be something about their active substance use. And then I came to the rooms and, now I'm happy, joyous, and free. They're going to have to qualify. Then every 12-step meeting starts with a series of readings. Okay, this is about 5 to 7 minutes of your time. This is every 12-step meeting you will ever go to has the exact same readings. Okay, so you're gonna sit and relax and you're just gonna listen for about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, it's what is AA or what is NA or what is whatever. It's a couple of paragraphs. Then they're going to go into how it works. Then they're going to read the 12 steps, okay? This is all designed for you to get it hammered into your head what the program is and what the program isn't, including learning a bit more about the 12 steps. So they're going to do all those readings. Some groups have optional readings. They'll read a really gorgeous poem called Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, or The Promises, or they have these books called The Daily Reflections, which is like a thought for the day. Those are all optional. So also to note, everybody in that room is going to introduce themselves as, hi, my name is blank and I'm an alcoholic, or I'm an alcoholic named blank. And then everyone in the room is going to go, hi, blank. Okay? Just FYI. Or some people will have the audacity to introduce themselves as grateful alcoholics. Grateful alcoholic named Kinga. And you're going to wonder, what? Right? Why would you ever be grateful to call yourself an alcoholic or an addict or whatever, right? That's where you are in your recovery, in your journey. These people are a little bit further down the line where it's almost like getting a diagnosis, right? You get a diagnosis and then you know what to do and how to manage your symptoms. So the gratitude comes from the diagnosis and the realization and understanding that I'm an alcoholic, I'm an addict, so no, this is what I need to do to maintain my disease, they call it. Okay, so if you hear grateful alcoholic, that's where it's coming from. Also, as you look around the room, eyeing up everybody, of course they're doing the same to you, but I will tell you that there is no room for prejudice. Most likely, none of your stereotypes will be true, okay? I remember my first meeting, I was like, oh, well, all the old people must have a lot of sober time, and all the young people will probably be like me. This is not true. Also, not everyone in the room is committed. No. Also, not everyone in the room will have consecutive clean time. So they have a chip system where either at the beginning or the end of a meeting, they'll say, does anyone have 24 hours? Or is recommitting to their sobriety. So a person walking up to go get their first chip, which could be you if you feel comfortable, that isn't necessarily their first time doing that. Or a person going up and getting their 1 month chip, 3 month chip, 6 month chip, whatever, that isn't necessarily their first time doing that. Okay? Recovery is not linear. You don't get on the road of happy destiny and stay there. We deviate all the time. So I know for me that both terrified me and showed me how committed people can be to A, their own humility, but B, their recalibration and finding their way back onto a path of recovery. Okay. So no prejudice. None of your stereotypes will come true. I will tell you that much. So you're gonna see books. Okay. They'll probably be, I took my covers off a long time ago, but this is the Alcoholics Anonymous book. It's called The Big Book. And this is a book called The 12 and 12. The Big Book is like the AA literature. Every 12-step meeting will have their own book. This is just like the most famous one that people would know. This is what mine looks like. If I die, somebody burn this, because the notes I have in my margins are very revealing. I'm actually on my second big book now, because I'm just not the person that I used to be in this book. The behaviors are still sometimes similar, but the times that they manifest are fewer and farther between. Anyway, so those are some of the books you'll see. The meetings, like I said at the beginning, they might be a speaker meeting. They might be a discussion where they'll pass around a piece of paper and people will write down something they want to talk about. Or they might be a big book reading or a 12 and 12 reading, which is where you read a couple of paragraphs from one of those books and then they'll discuss it. Okay, listen to me. Do not feel any pressure to behave a certain way or to contribute. Okay, you do not even have to identify yourself as anything. You can say, I'm blah 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 and I'm here to listen. You can literally just say, hi, I'll pass. Do not feel any pressure to act a certain way. This is not the space for masks, okay? Just know that everyone that walked into that room for their first meeting felt exactly the same as you do. Some fraction of it, all under the same umbrella though. Okay, so I promise you this is not a place where you need to fit into any sort of role that you think you need to fit into, okay? Then after the readings are done, oh, I forgot. Every meeting starts usually with the Serenity Prayer. Okay, everyone's gonna like bow their heads, and they're, you know, people might close their eyes. I know I close my eyes. I'm one of those people. Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Do not pay attention to the God thing. I'm going to do a whole other video about that. Just glaze over it, okay? It's the word God is not important, I promise. The concept of God, however, is very important. Again, another video. Then the meeting will like officially start. You're gonna get into like the meat and potatoes of things. The chairperson's gonna, you know, ask a volunteer to start. People usually go around in a circle. My worst nightmare, which has happened to me, is when they do it like popcorn style, where people sit there like that. And then the first brave person, usually someone that's done this a million times before, will be like, hi, I'm Kinga, I'm an alcoholic. This week's reading was really interesting. And then they'll start, and then they'll finish their share, and then everyone will sit in silence again. Okay. I've only been to a few popcorn style meetings. It's not something I'm terribly comfortable doing, but it's also a good exercise for me to sort of stretch my comfort zone. I much prefer it when we go around in a circle, so I just know. Like, I know when it's my turn, right? And if I feel like passing, I'll already know that I'm going to pass, so I can really just pay attention instead of like trying to think of something super brilliant to say, because that's my ego. Also, like with these videos, I don't have a script. I don't know if you can tell. I do mark down like bullet points that I want to say if I need to organize my thoughts, but I don't script it. So it's from the heart and very raw. But I do recommend for maybe like your first meeting or your first couple of meetings, dedicate yourself to maybe just passing and listening so that you can just sit back, you can relax, you can just absorb instead of thinking about what you're going to say or worrying about what's about to come out of your mouth. If you feel comfortable, you can chat with people after, because you're probably going to be accosted with like love and handshakes by the people that regularly go to that meeting. So you can chat with people then. Sometimes it's better just having one-on-one anyway. Hang out in the parking lot after the meeting for 45 minutes and chat with someone. But for the first like couple or few meetings, just relax, kick back, just listen, absorb, be a sponge. I will tell you, take what you need and leave the rest, okay? I have found that my addictive brain at the beginning really wanted to separate me from these people, from you. I'm not like you. I'm not as bad as you, or I'm worse than you. You can't possibly imagine the shit that I've done. Things like that. My addictive brain wants to separate me so it can control my life forever. So I'm going to encourage you to listen for the things that are relatable to you. There's going to be something. This I promise you. There's going to be something. Someone's going to share a part of their story, either in active substance use or in recovery. Or they're going to share something and you're going to be like, I am so envious of you. That's the stuff that matters. That's the stuff that you kind of have to hold on to. That's what's going to drive you to deeper self-awareness and possibly making adjustments in your life. Okay, so listen for the things that are meaningful to you. The meeting will probably last about an hour. They're gonna close with a couple of like routine readings. I will give you a heads up. A lot of meetings close with the Lord's Prayer. Now, I have a rebellious, defiant streak. So in my first year, I tried to get the Lord's Prayer like abolished from the readings in the groups in my town. It did not work. This is another thing where forget that it's super religious-based prayer. Focus on the meat and potatoes of the prayer. There's some good stuff in there. Forgive me of my trespasses. Forgiveness, that'd be cool. There is some good stuff in there that is humbling. Again, take what you need and leave the rest, but don't leave everything. Because 12-step fellowships are free and they are everywhere, you can find a meeting every day of the week. If you've got access to transportation, cool, go to those meetings. You're gonna find that you have a lot of spare time if you have completely removed substances from your life. You're also gonna want a bit of a safety net in to fill up your time, but two, a group of people that know exactly what you're going through. Okay, I like to say, if you think that you're the black sheep of your family, these are the other black sheep, so go find your flock. I will do a series of other videos based on the 12 steps, so keep an eye out for those. Good luck, enjoy your first meeting. Good luck, love you.